Welcome to the briefing session of this course. In this briefing session, I will be talking deeply about what is e-commerce and what are the things that you must really understand before we start talking technical terms about Amazon. Now, before we begin, we need to understand what is e-commerce actually. Now, in order to understand what e-commerce actually is, we have to understand what is the meaning of commercial trading. Basically, what commercial trading means, there is buying and selling of goods and services. Whenever we have buying and selling of something, there has to be a monetary value attached to it, which means that there has to be transfer of funds and information. Now, the whole point of e-commerce is that in the e-commerce, the same exact thing happens, however, everything happens online through the internet. There is no point of having an e-commerce system where you sell something online, but you have to collect the cash from the person. That doesn't really justify the purpose of e-commerce. What happens in e-commerce is that you sell and you buy things online while you pay online, and you get the products instantly on your doorstep. That's the whole beauty of e-commerce. When we talk about e-commerce, we have to understand what are the kinds of e-commerces available to us. The first kind is the B2B, the second one is the B2C, and the third one is the C2C. So the first kind of e-commerce is the business to business e-commerce. For example, a business can go and open their own store to sell to other businesses on platforms such as Shopify. For the scope of this course, we will focus mainly on the B2C e-commerce, where a business like you and I can open our store in Amazon, Noon, Carrefour, and similar e-commerce platforms to sell to the end customer, who can then purchase our products directly from these platforms. Now, what are the reasons that compels an individual or a business to transform their existing business model into an e-commerce model? Of course, when we talk about e-commerce, we talk about things that are happening online. This means that we save up on multiple kind of costs, which includes operational costs, management costs, licensing costs, as well as handling costs. The next reason why one would like to sell on e-commerce is because of ease of access. Literally, you can be accessing the data of your performance from anywhere of the world and analyzing the sales and transactions as well as your inventory performance. The next reason why one would like to sell on e-commerce is simply because to increase the visibility of their products. When you start listing your products online, you will notice that there is no time restrictions. This means that your products are ready to be purchased by any customer from any part of the world 24 hours, 7 days a week. And also, to make sure that your products gain more visibility, you can utilize the Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, as well as Amazon's inbuilt sponsored ads. I will talk more deeply about the Amazon sponsored ads in the coming sessions. The fourth reason why one should start selling online is low inventory costs. When you have a physical store or a shop, you need to have a space where you can store your products. However, on e-commerce, when you start selling your products on Amazon, you can choose their fulfillment services where you store your products in their warehouse, and whenever you receive an order, Amazon takes the ownership of fulfilling these orders and making sure that your products reach the customers safely and on time. Now, of course, these are chargeable fulfillment services provided by Amazon and other e-commerce platforms. However, if you compare with the monthly storage charges or the rental charges of a warehouse, these fulfillment charges are close to negligible. Now that we're familiar with why we should sell online, so let's find out what are the advantages and disadvantages you might face while selling on Noon.com. As you know, Noon.com is seeing a rapid growth in the UAE, KSA, and the Egypt market. This indeed gives the Noon.com sellers an opportunity to grab the rapidly growing customer share of the Noon.com population. One of the major acceptance criteria to become a seller on Noon.com is that you need to have a valid trade license in order to start selling on Noon.com. This means that not every other person can start selling on Noon.com as compared to Amazon's platform, where Amazon also offers an individual as well as a professional selling options. This is actually beneficial for Noon sellers because they can now face fewer competitors and increase their profit margin. One of the most underestimated feature of Noon.com is the ability to show your warranty to your customers. Displaying your warranty to the customers earns your customers' trust and makes it easy for them to make the decision to buy the product. Now, in this growing customer share of e-commerce, Noon.com has made sure that their e-commerce customers do not leave Noon.com, and they have tried to make sure that they retain all the customers by introducing their loyalty program, which is also known as the Noon VIP. Now, all the Noon VIP customers can enjoy a free shipping regardless of the order amount, and also they can enjoy a same day delivery for all the Express FBN items. This in fact makes sure that all the Noon customers are retained and the Noon sellers continue to make sales to their Noon customers. Now let's look into some of the negative things about Noon.com. Unfortunately, even though Noon.com has continually strived to become one of the best e-commerce websites, their user interface for the sellers has been really difficult on the sellers in terms of processing and operations. Compared to other existing e-commerce platforms, Noon.com is relatively a new website. This also implies that they are continuously trying to improve their website, and every now and then sellers might face some technical issues or bugs here and there. Now let's say you are a seller on Noon.com and you are facing a problem while listing a product. Now the product just doesn't want to go live for unknown reasons. So the best approach would be contacting the seller support team, sending them an email describing your problem and waiting to be resolved. Now the only problem here is that the seller support team might only respond to you after almost 30 days to 90 days. I hope in the future the seller support team will be as fast as their biggest competitor, but for now this is something the sellers has to go through every single day. Now on Noon.com you will also notice that there is no price automation mechanism, which means that for every product that your competing seller has reduced the price on, you will also have to manually monitor the prices and reduce your price so that you win the buy box in that specific product. Now this really becomes a tough challenge when you are one of the sellers who is selling 100 different kind of listings. However, you have competitors competing with you every now and then, and you would have to monitor each and every listing one by one to make sure that you are in the buy box. Another negative thing that you would like to know about Noon.com is that if you would like to add a new product which does not exist in Noon's catalog, you would have to upload those products using a secondary Excel sheet known as the NIS file, also known as new item sheet file. In this NIS file, you will have to manually input all the relevant details of the product that you would like to list and upload it manually to the Noon.com seller lab and wait for the approval. Of course, when you upload this NIS file to the Noon seller lab, you will have to wait for a manual approval from the Noon's team, and this might take some time. If you're an existing seller on Noon.com, you will also notice that you will face a lot of returns from your processed orders, not just because they are cancelled, but also because of some technical issues faced by the Noon's logistical team. For example, there might be an error while reading the barcodes, or simply your orders does not show up in the Noon's pickup team's system if you're choosing the Noon's FBP fulfillment model. The last disadvantage that I would like to highlight is that sometimes Noon.com's seller charges or commissions are a bit higher as compared to their competing platforms. Now let's talk about the documents that are required to start your Noon seller journey. So the first thing you will notice is that Noon.com directly asks the trade license and or commercial registration for the seller. This means that if you don't have a legal permit to trade products, you might not register on Noon.com's seller platform. The next requirement you see is the VAT certificate requirement. However, if you are a business holder who does not have a VAT registration, you can simply skip this process and move on to the next step. The other requirements are kind of self-explanatory. You can simply upload your passport or residence ID issued by the government, and also you have to make sure that you upload your commercial bank details. Now let's look into how to apply for a seller account on Noon.com. You can simply log into Noon.com and scroll to the bottom of the page and click on Sell with Us or Sell on Noon, or you can directly search on Google Noon Seller Lab. When you do that, you will stumble upon the Noon Seller Lab page where you can create your own store and apply for it. It is as simple as creating your account on any other platform. You have to enter necessary details about your country, your store details, upload your documents, upload your bank details, and of course upload your VAT registration. If you don't have a VAT registration, it's okay, you can skip that process and directly apply for creating your account. Now let's talk about the charges involved for a seller while fulfilling an order on Noon.com. Now remember, on Noon.com you have two fulfillment models. One is the FBP, which is fulfilled by partner, where you keep the stocks with yourself and allow Noon to pick it up from you, sort it out and deliver it to the customer. And the second model is fulfilled by Noon, where you keep the stocks in Noon's fulfillment center and you let Noon fulfill the orders on your behalf. Talking about the first model, which is the Noon's FBP, fulfilled by partner, you have two different kinds of FBP available. One is the cross-dock and another one is the direct ship. In the cross-dock FBP, you use the Noon's delivery services to fulfill the orders. However, in the direct ship FBP, you choose your own shipping services to fulfill these orders. Now, in both the models, you will find three different charges applicable to the seller. The first one is the sales commission charges, which is directly related to the sales price of the product and the product category. For example, if you're selling an electronic product, you will be paying a 5% commission fee on your sales price. The second type of the charge depends on the transfer mode. The question is, how does Noon receive your products? Does Noon.com have to send their personnel to your office or your location to pick up the product manually, or you drop it off to the Noon's van that comes to your centralized location? The seller has to pay a pickup fee or a drop-off fee depending on how the order items has been transferred to the Noon individuals. The third kind of the fee the seller will pay is the weight handling fee. Of course, the weight handling fee directly depends on the product's dimension and its size, and according to this, the seller has to pay a weight handling fee. Now let's talk about the Noon's FBN fees. Similarly, in this case also, the seller will be paying three different kinds of fees. The first fee will be the FBN fee, which will be charged by Noon for fulfilling your orders. In the previous case of FBP, we talked about the Noon's pickup and drop-off transfer mode payments. However, in the FBN model, we don't have any pickup or drop-off. Instead, the sellers will pay an FBN fee. The second type of the fee will be the Noon's sales commission fee, which depends on the product price and the product category. The third kind of fee will be the Noon's weight handling fee. As I said before, the weight handling fee will be directly related to the product's dimensions and its weight. If your products are stored in Noon's fulfillment centers and have not moved or have not been sold for over a month, then the sellers have to pay a monthly storage fee, which is sometimes very negligible, so you don't even have to worry about it. Now let's talk about cancellations. What are the kind of cancellations possible while selling on e-commerce platforms? So the first kind of cancellation is seller-initiated cancellations. In this case, the customer purchases a product, however, the seller is out of stock, or for some reason, the seller decides to reject this order. Remember when we talked about the referral fee or the commission fee when you make a sale? The same thing applies as a penalty fee when you reject an order. This means that when you accept an order, you pay a commission fee for selling the product, and at the same time, if you reject the order, you pay a penalty fee which is equal to the referral fee from your own pocket. This penalty fee is paid by the seller to compensate for the lost sale or the damaged reputation faced by that e-commerce platform. So always make sure to avoid cancellations and rejections of your orders. What are the things that most definitely sells and what are the things that we cannot sell on Amazon or any other e-commerce platform? The first category that pretty much sells well is the home and kitchen. In this category, the products are one of the most highly demanded products that could be utilized in a home and kitchen environment. There are many subcategories inside the home and kitchen category, so I will leave that to your own exploration. The next category that sells really well is the clothing, shoes and jewelry category. Of course, the apparel market and the jewelry market is pretty much self-explanatory. The next category that sells really well are the tools and home improvement. Of course, the fourth category, cosmetics and skincare, is one of the categories that makes Amazon sellers a hefty amount of revenue every single year. The next category would be pet accessories. Of course, if you're a pet lover, you already understand what I'm talking about. There are a lot of pet accessories, pet mattresses, dog collars, cat collars, etc. And of course, one of the trending products right now is the cat tree. The next category would be the electronics category. This includes any products that has a battery or a direct electric connection. Fridges, televisions, speakers, headphones, earphones, every single product that has a bit of electricity could be considered under the electronics product. The next category that is a go-to for Amazon customers is the automobile accessories. Of course, if you would like to buy your tire polish or your car shade, Amazon is one of the most highly searched websites for these items. Phones and laptops are also one of the highest grossing product categories. However, it is not always easy to the phone and laptops business or even the hard drives and SSD business, because there will be a lot of competition from even the brand owners themselves. For example, Samsung, LG, Toshiba. The distributors of these companies themselves sell on Amazon's website, which leaves very less room for margin for other sellers. One of the biggest and one of my favorite categories are the furniture and home decor. If you think about it, furnitures and home decor items are absolutely products that has no use. They are simply one of the most aesthetic products that goes to your home, sits in a corner, and just it is all about looking at them. So if your products are one of the most aesthetic products, you don't really need to worry about making the sale. The sales will happen themselves. The other categories of products you may even look into is replacement parts. Of course, the examples of replacement parts are TV wall unit hangers or door hinges, door knobs, etc. Stuff like that. One of the newly increasing and latest category of the products that I have noticed is the art and painting category. If you're an artist, you already know what are the accessories involved in this category, and artists always look for one of the best quality and cheaper price products online. So if you have the products to sell, you should definitely go for it. There are hundreds of other product categories that we haven't talked about, for example the baby product and such other categories. Now let's talk about the things that you cannot sell on Amazon. For example, refurbished or used items cannot be made for sale on Amazon. If you're based currently in the UAE or any other part of the world, you should always research on the banned products of that specific region, because the products that are locally banned or has restriction by the government can also not be sold on Amazon for that specific region. Of course, Amazon has a very strict policy about counterfeit items. So if your t-shirt actually says Adidas, however, if that product was bought from a thrift shop just to be sold as a fake product, do not even consider selling that product on Amazon, because you will be liable legally. And depending on the region you are in, alcohol and tobacco are some of the products that you cannot sell on Amazon. Some of the other sales strategies that you could also use is offer below cost weekend sale. Of course, it doesn't really have to be below cost all the time. It could be just so that you simply offer a 10% discount, 20% discount, and so on to your customers only on specific dates, such as the weekends, when you know that your customers will be more available on their phones, so you can attract these customers to your products. Now when we talk about customers and sales, we should always think about the feedback. Making sure that the customer service is always as high as possible ensures a high feedback to your seller account, which makes sure that your seller ratings are always as close to 5 stars rating. If the listing on Amazon shows that you are selling a red colored t-shirt, and if you sell a blue colored t-shirt to your customer, these are totally different things, and this is actually a discrepancy in your product supply, which means every time you list a product, you should always make sure that the actual physical product that you supply to your customers are 100% exactly matched with the product that you are listing and supplying. And when you have a lot of orders in the future, make sure that you avoid order rejections, because if you reject orders, customers tend to take it in the negative way and they really get mad. And if a customer is unhappy, they tend to quickly go and give you negative feedback, which of course drops your customer ratings.